My name is Nancy Gale Fox, and I'm a real psychic medium, clairvoyant, and a very spiritual person, as I am sober and Alcoholics Anonymous since February 9th, 1985, and I started going to Al Anon in 1997. So I work an AA Al Anon 12-step program for a very long time. And in those programs, you're taught to be honest, to check your motives, make sure you don't manipulate, to not gossip, to not harm anybody, and to review your day at the end of the night or when you're going to sleep and make sure you didn't hurt anyone's feelings and ask you an apology. And so I work a program like this for 40 years. And when everything was going wonderful, suddenly devils swarmed around called gang stalkers and ruined all I'd worked for. And before that, everything was in harmony, great, wonderful, good, and just very normal. And we had a happy life in the suburbs. And that's why it's so obvious that I am a gang stalk targeted individual, as I am one who would literally say every day, I have all good karma coming, and praying to God all the time, turning everything over to God, keeping a clear conscience, feeling so good inside by doing nothing wrong, because that's how I've stayed sober so long, as I have almost 40 years of sobriety. And I decided early on when I got sober in the 80s, if I do nothing wrong, I'll have no reason to feel like I want to drink. And so that's how I stay sober, is by not lying, cheating, stealing, or harming anybody, by not gossiping. And so here I am, an over honest, over nice person, and suddenly I'm slandered, we've been gang stalked, catnapped, vandalized, car break and robbery, all these like hate crimes going on when there's nothing to hate about me. So I'm one who makes sure I don't harm anybody, and I'm one who's tactful and polite, and I I didn't I didn't harm anybody. So it's like, what in the world? Why are these vultures swarming around us? I was scared to death. What is going on? How could this happen to somebody like me who makes sure they do nothing wrong? And that's how I live my life, um, with my 12-step program, which is a program for living, not to preach AA and Al Anon, but how could all that happen to someone like me who didn't harm a flea? So that is why it's so obvious I'm a gang stalk targeted individual by what was done, and also by the way people have treated me since it was done, is they treat me like I'm somebody else at times out of nowhere. And that's how I know people are lying about me behind my back, is they treat me like I'm a different person. And that's what many targeted individuals say. Um, that, that, that many get in the two or more lied conspiracy and slander them. And so gang stalkers try to make people think a targeted individual are a different type of person. And that's what I've experienced. It's like, what are you saying to me? I'm an over honest, trustworthy person. And I was used to always being treated with such respect. I was a real estate agent for 10 years, from 1999 to 2009, and I was used to people treating me with such respect, as I was a very polite, hardworking, good real estate lady, over honest, over ethical, going the extra mile for buyers and sellers, and happily doing my job selling homes. And everything ran like clockwork, and people just call me to list and buy, and I was just in stride, prosperous and selling homes, and everybody treated me with so much respect. And as I was a reserved, polite, professional real estate lady, doing a good job for people. And that was my profession for 10 years. And suddenly I was treated like I was somebody else. And it was very strange. When these things started going on, I was like they were treating me like they thought I was a teenager or something. So, like I wasn't a long time sober, over honest lady. And I just was aghast, appalled, in disbelief. And I was very set up in '09, and I thought, I'm going to get 20 million for this. That's really what I thought. As I had a spotless reputation I built up for 10 years as a real estate lady, always networking, in person, staying on top of everything with buyers and sellers, and everything was just great. And I felt so good and happy inside, and felt wonderful. And I was so happy about a house I bought for my family, and I had lost weight and done a makeover on myself. And it seems people could have had jealous hatred that I lost weight and got back to my normal size. As somebody even told me, boy, those ladies sure don't like the way you dress. Someone said to me, and I said, well, I don't care. I wear the clothes I like, and I was a costume designer, nominated for an Emmy. I happen to be an expert in knowing what clothes look best on people. And so after a low-carb diet I started in December '04, I went shopping and put a new wardrobe together as I got back to my old normal size, which is a 2, 4, or 6. And that's the size I was in my 20s, before I had my children in the 90s. And so I thought, I'm going to get back to my normal weight, and did. And here I was, a real estate lady in the suburbs, and I had about 25 pounds to lose. So people were used to seeing me weighing more than I should have, and just I always wear a blazer, and usually, and so anyway, I lost weight. I lost 25 pounds. I started a low carb diet December '04, and I said I'm doing a makeover on myself, like I did for actresses on movies for many years, as I was a costume designer and a costume supervisor on television, TV movies of the week, feature films, TV shows, TV series, and a stylist also on rock videos and some commercials. And that was my profession: costume designer, costume supervisor, stylist, 1979 to the early 90s, for about 17 years. So I'm an expert at knowing what clothes look best on people, as that is what I did for 17 years. I'm an expert at shopping uh, for clothes that will flatter people, and here I was 17 years doing wardrobe fittings, saying yay or nay to clothes actors and actresses tried on, and that's what I happen to be an expert at also. And so I did that for myself. I said, I'm going to do a makeover on myself, and I went on a low-carb diet, as I said, December '04. I got Ristylane line filler, which made me look 20 years younger, taking some wrinkles off my face, and it looked very natural. And I said, I'm going to let my bangs grow out and go shopping. And that's what I did. All planned, a makeover. And it went very well. And I got back to my normal size in 2005, 20 years ago, and stayed the same size. And that's the weight I'm supposed to be. And people in the suburbs were used to seeing me in a real estate suit, 25 pounds overweight. Well, they didn't know what my normal size was, and I look a lot better at the right weight. My face looks better as many people go on a diet, they lose weight in their face, and then they look better just by that. And I'm one of those people. And not to give so many personal details, as normally I wouldn't even hardly have told a soul I did Ristylane, so it looked very natural. And I thought, I'm doing this once a year the rest of my life. And anyway, being a targeted individual with ID theft since I was set up, I cannot do what I like or what I committed to doing, as I'm a person who will make a commitment to myself. Like that was one. I said, I'm doing Ristylane once a year, $450, and every year the rest of my life, because it took 20 years off my face, and I looked a lot younger, as many people do this. And I believe hate crimes were done because I did a makeover on myself. I lost weight, got back to my normal size, and my hair cut and weave was the same, my makeup was the same. I just let my bangs grow out, low carb diet, lost weight, bought new clothes, Ristylane line filler that looked natural, and suddenly gang stalkers swarmed around like vultures, committed hate crimes, and somebody said, boy, some ladies sure don't like the way you dress. And as I said, well, I don't care. I wear the clothes I like. As here, I was a costume designer, nominated for an Emmy, an expert in clothing, an expert at knowing what looks the best on me, what's flattering. And I went shopping and bought designer clothing, invested in a wardrobe to wear it forever, to fill up my walk-in closet in the house I bought in '05 as a realtor buying their own house, getting all set, ready to live. Invested in clothes, family room furniture, invested in the house I bought, and got everything all said and done. Spent around $300,000 in '05 buying the house, updating it, and buying family room furniture, and invested in some clothes, and got all set up to be productive and sell homes from the family home I bought. And anyway, that was near our 2-story tract home where we lived 8 years, 5 minutes away, same city, same county, same school district, 2.3 miles away. So it was an easy move for my daughters and I to move close by and be in the same area where I'd sold homes and estates for years. And anyway, everything was great, all said and done. I made all the plans, Liz did it all. Then the hate crime gang stalkers swarmed around and wanted to ruin it all. And about $1,000 worth of my true religions went missing from the house. Okay, so that's a big clue, I would say, that they didn't like I lost weight and looked good in true religion jeans. As I got back to size 2 or 4, and in my 20s, I wore designer jeans. They were $100 each at the Beverly Center. I remember I had a pair that were a size 26. I had a 22.5-inch waist when I was in my 20s. So, anyway, I didn't get back to that size. Well, I did later by being a targeted individual and losing too much weight because I'm raw blind, obviously. And anyway, well, I'm just making a point that I was so happy I lost weight on low-carb diet, got back to my normal weight, bought True Religion jeans, size, I think they were size 28, and here I was just my normal size. And I think some women were mad and wanted to ruin it all. And that's how it seems by the comment that women made. And anyway, I was just being myself. Happy, joyous, free Nancy Fox, past costume designer, stylist, buying designer clothes for myself, by the makeover I did on myself, and I said I'm going to buy clothes I love that are flattering, that look great on me, with fabric I love, and I bought like classic timeless clothes also. That looks sort of period, being a past costume designer, that I wore out socializing to AA conventions, AA meetings in Malibu, out with my buyers and sellers who invited me to dinner, a comedy show, a concert, and I was invited a lot of places in '05, and I had stylish clothes to wear socializing, which I hadn't had, as I had stayed home with my daughters about 14 years every night. And in '05, they were turning 14 and 11, well, my daughters were 10 and 13 when I bought the house in May '05, and they were old enough I could go out at night, and they were, and I went out when they were busy, when they had plans, and worked around their schedule. 'Cause that's the kind of mother I was as a single mom with two beautiful daughters, as I did everything around their schedule, and that's a fact. And anyway, I had not been out for probably 14 years, as I just stayed home every night. I didn't even have clothes to socialize in till 2005, when I decided I'm going to buy all new clothes, fill up my new walk-in closet, and put a whole look together. And then I was invited a lot of places in '05 by real estate buyers and sellers, and AA people. And I went to the Westlake Village AA convention they have every fall at the Westlake Hyatt. I went to the Burbank AA convention. I went to Malibu uh, weekend meetings, and where they have good speakers, and so here I was, happy, joyous, free, long time sober, Nancy Fox, lost weight, new clothes, so happy, and people inviting me places, going out, and I had not been out for so long, really. But gratefully so. I wanted to just stay home with my kids, and I didn't even have clothes to wear out. But I did not pay babysitters. My kids were growing up, and was a very hands-on mother, very patient, calm, AA Al-Anon Nancy Fox. And I'm educated in parenting, and I'm doing this video because I want people to know I'm a very over-honest, sincere person. And if I say I'm a medium, prophet, channeler, clairvoyant, I am. Because I don't lie, cheat, or steal. And if that's who I say I am, that's who I am. And that is, so people, I want people to know I'm so honest, so they will listen, as I was very targeted, stalked, as said, and I'll get into that in a minute. But well, I want to give my background so people know I'm a reserved, normally quiet person, believe it or not. As a child, I was known as shy, quiet, reserved, coy. I was graceful, uh, just a nice, easygoing kid. And I started writing poetry at age 4, and I was just easygoing, patient, nice Nancy Fox as a child growing up in Sherman Oaks. And well, writing has always been my love, and I turned into a prophet writer, obviously. But as I said, I started writing poetry at age 4, and then in high school, I majored in creative writing. That was my favorite class in high school. I was on the magazine staff, published my poetry, learned how to structure poems, and later I took a song lyric writing class at Valley College. And my high school teacher told me she thought I'd be a great screenplay writer. So that planted the seed in my head I needed. And I read Lejos Egri, Art of Dramatic Writing in high school, and I started reading screenplay writing books and books about making movies. And I decided in high school I'm going to be in the movie industry or the music industry. I'm going to be a screenplay writer or song lyric writer. That's what I decided. And then I went to Valley College. I was placed in academic English. I took theater arts, playwright, radio, film, and broadcast, and luckily typing, because I can profit type 180 words a minute. And I know how to spell most words by heart, as I type in a medium trance. So I cannot stop and think of how to spell a word or to think of a fact, name, or something. I type for the Holy Spirits and famous people who died in a medium trance. And luckily, I can spell most words by heart, but I cannot stop to think of spell checking or commas or periods or caps or paragraphs. And anyway, um, I usually have 2 typos, and I wrote very professional real estate letters, and but profit writing is not writing a real estate business letter. It's total opposite. But anyway, point is, as a realtor, I would have all these things on my mind to say, like to a buyer or seller, write the letter, and get it all out fast in a letter. As I also took a class called Writing Inside Out at UCLA, where you learn how to write with your insides, what you're feeling, thinking, and get it all on paper from your heart and soul and all your thoughts. And so I learned how to do that in a screenplay writing class at UCLA, writing from the inside out. And so as a realtor, I would write a fast real estate letter, get everything out I had to say on paper, then go back and then spell check it. And usually I'd have 1 typo. I'm just making a point. And anyway, that I write my own theories and so on. And as many I piece all my prophet work together, but often it's rolling around in my head 2 days even, piecing together how crimes are committed, and then I'll sit down and write the whole thing in one swoop, I call it. And it's all welled up inside. I have to get it out, and I'll I'll just write it all with my heart and soul and the information I got in my channeling, and as fast as I can to get it all out, and then I'll go back and spell check it. And so, but that's writing from the inside out. And that's what I learned in a screenplay writing class is you write with your heart and soul, emotion, your thoughts. And so I do my own theories, and I write for the Holy Spirits and famous people who died. And I developed this gift in 2009. And that was after 4 years of channeling on an angel board. So I want people to know, so they will listen to the crime tips to stop the crimes. That's why I'm giving my background, so people know I'm an over-honest, over-nice, sincere, trustworthy, good person. And that is just who I am. And even when I drank, before I got into sober in AA in 1985, February 9th, I still was nice, easygoing, and polite, and just Nancy Fox, easygoing, and that's my personality. I'm not one that argues or butts heads, or I don't insult people. I'm tactful, and I tippy-toed around on movie sets with famous people for 17 years, and behind the scenes, polite, calm, patient, professional person. And suddenly I'm treated like I'm somebody else out of nowhere. And anyway, when I was 10 years old, I believe 10 turning 11, in 1970, I got a Ouija board for my birthday, and I channeled on that in my bedroom alone after school. I was in the 6th grade. So that's when I really started channeling. I could move the device alone easily, and just sat doing that after school, and for probably 6 months or 4 months or so. And I had accurate psychic dreams of things before they happened as a child. So um, I dream of things while they're happening. I have remote viewing where I can see something when I'm asleep, and that is a real gift. And that's why I want people to know I'm very honest. Because if I say I have a remote viewing gift and I'm clairvoyant and I have premonition dreams of things before they happen and dream of things while they happen, then I do. Because I don't make things up. And that's a fact. And as a child, I dreamt there was an envelope on the table that said, for Nancy, from my aunt, in a black Sharpie, little manila envelope. Saw it plain as day sitting on the dining room table when I was asleep in a dream. Woke up, there it was sitting on the table. And I said, oh my God, I dreamt this envelope was here. It said for Nancy on the table, and there it was. So I have this gift. I've had it all during my life. I've also been telepathic and clairvoyant. Randomly, I was all during my life. Just out of the blue once a year or something, clairvoyant vision, and something would happen that I had a clairvoyant vision of, or I'd get information telepathically, just randomly. And anyway, so it was all during my life, little bits and pieces, or someone died, I'd feel their spirit around me, as I'm a medium. I'm a clairvoyant, I have accurate premonition dreams, I dream of things while they're happening, randomly. The Holy Spirit send me the dreams. That's they're doing. They send me the dreams to know things. So it just happens out of the blue. And that's what spirit guides do. Often, people have their own dreams, of course, too, but often it's your spirit guides giving you information when you're asleep to help you, to guide you in your life, to warn you of something. And I do readings for customers for over 15 years, so I do dream interpretations, and customers call and ask me what a dream meant, and you have to decipher, is that your own dream, or did your spirit guide send you the dream? But I worked very hard at all this to be in tune with myself and with my spirituality, my psychic ability, and that was always just my interest and hobby. As well, I'm a Scorpio, so Scorpios are known for being curious about the afterlife and mysteries, and that is what always intrigues Scorpio sun signs. And so at 18, I read Linda Goodman's astrology book. Then I read Linda Goodman's love sign books. I read Handbook to Higher Consciousness, a yellow hardcover book. I read Universal Cosmic Mind Power, when that's about people being connected by their thoughts around the world. Like, I hope everybody is, so they will listen to my medium tips to stop the crimes, as many good ones are, and obviously the bad ones aren't. But the more people connected on the same thought plane and wavelength, the better. So that, and and praying, of course, helps too. Probably praying in your mind these days due to the worry of bugging and so on. And anyway, that's the thing. The ones committing the crimes bug everybody. They know what they're thinking, what they found out, what they're praying for, saying, and worrying of. And my reading says that many people are bugged, and they bug targeted individuals. And bugging is for them the criminals who do the stalking, lying, catnapping, vandalizing, framing, and setups. It is not the victims who are good aren't supposed to be bugged, and that's not what it was invented for. But that's what they do to targeted individuals. And that's what my readings have said for too long, since I spilled it on my angel board many years ago at the family dream home I bought in '05. I plan to stay in the rest of my life. And my angel board spelled out, "You're bugged." Bugged. Spelled it out many times. End of '08, '09. You're bugged. You're framed. You were slandered to a CPS secret court hearing, it's spelled. October '05. Or no, '08. October '08. So I was a scared to death mother. Most worried mom in America, my guides call me. And my angel board I was channeling on it like my Ouija board when I was 10, and to see what is going on with this stalking, vandalism, cats disappearing, and what is the world is going on. And it spelled that out. You're bugged. You're bugged. You're bugged. You're framed. You're being framed. You were lied about to a CPS secret court hearing. That's what I spelled out on it, what the guides channeled. So I have gotten this tip since 2008. And many targeted individuals say gang stalkers are in security cameras, bugging, hacking, and spy cam equipment. And that's what my readings have said for way too long. That's what they do to targeted individual victims. And anyway, I got all these tips for a very long time. '07, my angel board spelled voyeurism. Very slowly. That means somebody on a spy cam. So years later, after getting bugging, spy cam, CPS, secret court, and all these awful tips, while all these crimes were committed at the same time, like mailbox vandalism, car break-in, cats disappearing when stalkers were there, and I'm a big cat lover also, and all these things went on, devils swarming around our house, like hate crimes, and anyway, so I'm doing readings the whole time to see what's going on and getting all these crime tips of who's doing this. And well, years later, in 2010, I read about gang stalk targeted individuals, and what the websites explained was the same thing um, as my channeling crime tips. So what they explained with facts about gang stalkers, I said, oh my God, that's what my tips have been. About bugging, spy cam hacking, security cameras, and so on. So I realized, oh, I'm a targeted individual, and those were gang stalkers. So that's how I pieced my psychic tips together I'd gotten for years, starting in '05, or I pieced them together when I read the facts about what gang stalkers do to targeted individuals in 2010. Okay, now my readings kept saying there are two or more lied son of Satan conspiracy who take people to sex slavery by lying. That's what I kept spelling on the angel board and innovate early '09. Then 2010, I read Senator George and Nancy Schaefer said they run a shadow slavery ring at CPS. So I matched that fact up with the psychic tips I got. And I read that she said that, and I said, oh my God, that's what my angel board channel tips have said, and channel writing in '09. So she said with facts what I said with my psychic readings. And the Gang Stalkers website said what I had said with my psychic readings about being bugged and voyeurism and so on. So I match up my psychic prophet tips with facts. And so you would think everybody would say, well, that's that. Nancy Fox spelled out a 2 or more light son of Satan conspiracy, take people to sex slavery by lying. Now, Georgia Senator Nancy Schaefer said, 2010, they run a shadow slavery ring at CPS. Then she was dead a week later. Pretty obvious. They didn't want her talking. And anyway, so I work very hard to explain the tips, as many know, and I want people to know I'm very honest, genuine, trustworthy. I keep a clear conscience as a spiritual 12-step lady. And that's why when stalkers swarmed around, I'm like, what is going on? Here every day, I make sure I do nothing wrong. I would literally say in my prayers every day, at night, I was the best person I could be today. I was the best mom I could be today. Thank you, God. Amen. Literally, because I like feeling good. And I don't play games or manipulate or backstab or gossip or lie, because I like feeling good inside. And when you do those things, you don't feel good about yourself. And people in sobriety, they want to feel good in their skin, is what they call it in AA. You want to feel comfortable in your own skin. You don't want to feel uncomfortable. So I worked very hard to feel very comfortable. Then, of course, the gang stalking, liar, probable catnapper, thieves, and well, then they made me uncomfortable. But I worked very hard to be comfortable in my own skin with myself as a good person. And they just caused a lot of fear and worry. And it was just awful and devastating. And I thought, how in the world could this happen to someone like me, who every day makes sure I do nothing wrong, who doesn't harm anyone, who doesn't hurt feelings, who's tactful, cordial, polite, professional, and how in the world could all these hate crimes be done? So when the stalkers swarmed around, I said out loud, I bet it's real estate agents after my real estate business. I don't know who else could be stalking. And my real estate listing portfolio was stolen by a car break-in from my SUV parked in our driveway. So I piece all these things together, crimes that were committed. I piece it together with my channeled psychic prophet tips to get to the root of it. For a long time, to have these gang stalkers stopped from committing horrible hate crimes against targeted individuals that they victimize. And so they are stopped from framing overnice parents to be a not needed case file, because that is what they did to me. Because here I was, AA Al-Anon overnice patient, longtime sober Nancy Fox, very patient mother. I did everything around my kids' schedule with work, selling real estate, and with going to AA meetings at night and so on. And how could this happen to someone who makes sure they do nothing wrong? That's impossible. So I knew it was outright hate crimes and framing, and then said, oh, they did this to rob my identity, it seems, because I don't receive mail-in money as I should since. So there I am, being the best mom, a good person, over honest, feeling so spiritual and wonderful, happy with the house I bought, happy with my busy real estate business, happy I lost weight, bought new clothes, and everything going wonderful. And then the these vultures swarmed around and ruined it all. And that's what happened. And so that's why I keep telling the story a million times over, so people know what they did to us and how they framed me and set me up an overnice mother. Is before I had children, I went to Adult Children of Alcoholics Anonymous for 1 year. I went to John Bradshaw, to a workshop with John Bradshaw, read a John Bradshaw book and about the family. I studied all about parenting before I had children. And I learned in those meetings in his workshop, you don't blame or shame a child. You don't make them feel bad. You don't say don't cry. And I learned all these things about parenting to learn how to be an overnice parent, which I'm nice anyway. But basically, I learned you don't hurt a child's feelings. You don't insult them, and I am not that way anyway. I'm not a naggy type mother. You don't criticize, and you don't tell them not to cry. You don't tell them to stuff their feelings. And I learned all these things about parenting before I was a parent. Because in ACA and Codependence Anonymous, I went to a year also, and workshop and so on. You learn to parent yourself and to nurture your inner child. And the more you love yourself and the more you parent yourself, the better parent you are. And the more love you have for your children because you love yourself. And I did all this work before I had children. And I also minored in psychology in college. And so here, and I'm a screenplay writer, does character development, and I was a costume designer, figured out what costume a character would wear. So I am one with very good insight and perception to people, to what makes them tick, what they're about, just by glancing upon them. I am very good at character analyzations, turned into a criminal profiler, doing all this work and channel writing about crimes they commit. And I am somebody, you could say, with very good insight to people's personalities. And I am one, when I was a costume designer, many times people would say, you should be a therapist, or you're like a therapist. So I am one who is very patient with movie business people and actors, and Al-Anon lady. And Al-Anon, you learn, don't react if someone's a jerk. And all these tools for living I learned. I happen to be like a psychologist, like a therapist, and an expert in parenting. And I worked at a daycare in 1998. And I got a daycare worker's license. I got a real estate license in 99. I got an in-home provider license years later. I have no background, no record, because I have done 3 background fingerprint checks for 3 licenses. And readings say, gang stalkers lie about targeted individuals without them knowing, make up stories and lie. And that's why I'm saying it. I have no background, no record. Because you have to do that to get a real estate license. You have to do a background fingerprint check for a daycare worker license. And here I am, one who loves children so much, an expert in parenting and knowing how to be around children and what to say to them and to be so patient. Here I'm framed a DCFS when I should be teaching the parenting classes. And that's a fact. And I thought nothing could become of this, being lied about to DCFS, to a parent like me. I was literally writing a book called The Selfless Single Mom. I had notes on it, I was keeping notes on that book I was going to write, The Selfless Single Mom, where you learn to be selfless instead of selfish. Is when people first have a baby, they learn to be selfless. They learn what they need and want does not matter anymore. It's all about their baby. Nothing, your needs don't matter anymore. Everything is for your child. Your life, your needs revolve around theirs. I learned that right away. Parents have to be selfless. They don't think of themselves anymore. They're busy breastfeeding, they're hungry. Oh well, you have to sit there hungry. So I learned this, as many parents do. Suddenly, your needs don't matter. You have to be selfless. And that's the kind of parent I was. And that's a fact, as my needs came second. And of course, I learned to get up before my kids. That's what I did. I would get up 4:30 a.m. or whatever time, 4 a.m., and I would get up before they did so I could use the restroom and drink coffee and wake up. So because then it's all about your kids and not you. And that's how I parented. And that is a fact. And I did everything around their schedule. I sold homes when they were busy. I got up at 4 a.m. and sold real estate on the internet from 4 to 7 a.m. before they got out of bed. And that's how I made money as a realtor, as a selfless single mother. So when they got up, it was all about them. I wasn't on the phone working. I wasn't still emailing someone a house. Then the work stopped. I did what they needed. And I was very good at this as a single mom realtor. And that's how I did my days. I had my block of real estate time before they got out of bed. Then I had the time to cook breakfast, make their lunch, get them ready for school, and drive them to school. Then I sold homes while they were at school. Then I picked them up from school. It was all about them. And what did they need? What did they want? And that's how our lives ran. And that is why I could not believe I was lied about and set up to DCFS. Because I knew I am a better than average parent. And my days were scheduled around my kids' schedules. Because I wanted to be like a full-time mother, even though I was working as a realtor. And that's what I learned to do. To focus on my kids, to be in the moment, one-on-one time, all those kind of things. And I happen to know a lot from reading a lot of books. And how could a person like me be framed to DCFS? I thought nothing could become of this. And that is what happened. So January 2000, I was legally separated like a divorce. And my ex-husband, their dad, moved out January 2000. And all assets, community property split. I got full custody of our two daughters. And the legal separation like a divorce, January 2000. So there I was, one-man band, Nancy Fox, up 4 a.m. selling homes 4 to 7 before my kids got out of bed, running around selling homes while they were at school. And then, anyway, well, when they got a little older, then I could make some real estate calls, do texting and things when they were doing homework. But I worked around their schedule. And that's how I managed to make money and be like a full-time mother. And that's what my whole life was. Whole life revolved around my daughters. And my mother, when she got memory loss and lost her driver's license, my mother and I were very close. And I bought a one-story house for her to live with us instead of an elder care. She told me that's what she wanted to do in 2001. So I bought a house for my mom, to live with my 2 daughters and I in the same area, as I said, as our tract home we lived in 8 years, as all the bedrooms were upstairs. So I had to sell it and buy a house for my mom to live with us. And anyway, well, sudden, as I said, the mailbox was vandalized twice. It was stalked. The street was stalked. Cats disappeared when stalkers were there. Car broken into. Property robbed, including my real estate listing portfolio. Then, 2009, somebody lied I was suicidal when I was not and have never been in my life. Not even when I drank. I was one who would say, please, God, don't let anything happen to me or something. Take a cold shower or whatever. Drink coffee. No. So, anyway, never been suicidal in my life. I'm the opposite of that. I hate flying because I'm afraid to die. Okay? So I am one afraid to die. And anyway, now being a medium, anyway, I communicate with heaven a lot, and I feel like I spend half my day in heaven, really, communicating and, channeling the spirit guides, and I know all about heaven now and everything else, so it's not so scary knowing how the whole heaven system works. That's another story. But anyway, someone thought I was suicidal when I was not and have never been in my life. Then somebody sends DCFS to the best mom's house, looks in the messy pantry cupboard, turns on the showers. I thought, well, I'll never see them again. There couldn't be a case file on a nice mother like me. There could not be. Then there was a not needed case file. Then they said, though they spoke to a relative, they spoke to some anonymous people, and I knew, well, there's nothing they could say. As here I was, no drinking, no drugs, and I told DCFS I don't even date. I haven't even, and at this point, well, I'd had, not to give all the personal information, but I seem to have to do that to get the truth out. I had not had sex for almost a decade in 2005. No intercourse for 8.5 years. No sex, no drugs, no drinking, no nothing. Stalkers swarm around. What, because I lost weight and bought True Religion jeans? Because they wanted to rob my identity and vandalize the mailbox and commit hate crimes against us? Because I'm so nice? Because they wanted to steal my real estate business out from under me? And it seems also, and by what went on. And anyway, I'd had no sex 8.5 years. And that's a fact. No sex, no drugs, no drinking, no nothing. Just going to AA meetings, AA conventions, out with buyers and sellers, living our happy life. The perfect house I bought, perfect floor plan for my daughters. And they had large bedrooms, large bathroom, double sink, bedroom for my mom, 1 story for my mom, and got it all accomplished in 2005. And it all went like clockwork, being a realtor, buying their own property. And anyway, I plan to stay there forever, being prosperous and happy in our family life. The devil swarmed around like vultures to ruin it all. And then I was framed and set up to DCFS in spring 2009. And I thought nothing could become of this because I did nothing wrong. I didn't hit or spank. I never hit or spanked. Never hit anyone in my life. Over nice, patient, reserved, calm, nice Nancy Fox. And then I saw the lies in court, and the lies were dismissed without prejudice in court in 2009. The case file was opened based on lies, and the lies were dismissed. And the case was closed 15 years ago. So that was an obvious setup. How can you open a case file based on lies that the parent doesn't see or hear of till they get to court? Then they're all dismissed So why would there still be a case file? If it's open based on lies and the lies were dismissed. Then it was closed 15 years ago. Then I don't get mail money or PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, as I should since. And that's why I keep reporting this. As it's obvious that the gang stalkers are doing identity theft. It is obvious they framed and set me up by lying. It is obvious they broke in the car May 9th or 10th, 06 and stole $500 worth of property. Our cats disappeared when stalkers were there. They stalked the mailbox. They smashed it on the ground twice. $1,000 worth of True Religion jeans went missing from the house. And I had a live-out boyfriend who was a man from the past, who I dated in 1988, who I met in 1987. And he was a live-out boyfriend who did not live with us, and he was my live-out boyfriend December 05 to December 07. So no men were there, 8 or 9. I didn't date anybody. And I'm just making a point that DCFS shows up because someone lied to him. And it is just still unbelievable to me. And then I don't receive what I should since. And I want everybody to know I'm a very honest person. I'm a victim who was done in. And I'm a real medium. And if that's what I say, that's what I am. Because everyone needs to listen and know I'm sincere, honest, and over trustworthy, over sentimental, and I just pray everybody follows the tips I have written for 16 years to stop trafficking. Run through what readings say and others say, the CPS secret court. As my reading says, I was framed to a CPS secret court October 08. My angel board spelled it out. Why would it spell that out of the blue randomly? December 08. You're framed, you're bugged, you're lied about to a CPS secret court hearing. I was scared to death. Then I'm lied about literally 6 months later to DCFS in 09. Lies dismissed, case file open based on lies, case closed, nothing to tell about it. Should not be brought up again. Then I don't receive mail or money or anything as I should since. And that's the point I am trying to make, is they set me up and obviously do ID theft. And I was slandered by relatives in May 09 who lived an hour away, 5 hours away, who are much older than me, who moved away from LA County when I was 10 in 1970. They were not around me in my longtime sober AA Al-Anon real estate over honest great family life. They knew nothing about me because they moved away in 1970. So why would DCFS listen to someone like that who lived 5 hours away, moved away in 1970, who I rarely spoke to or saw? Okay, that's what happened. And I was treated like I was somebody else. And I want justice now. And I want people to know I'm over honest, and what I say about myself is true. So please listen so that this awful trafficking can be stopped already, as I've worked very hard to explain it, day in and day out, diligently, with all my might, to stop these awful crimes.